Andy gave me a lot of courage. He taught me courage. He taught me to have the courage to speak out and say the truth. And I'd like to say something right now that I wouldn't have had the courage to say if I'd not met Andy. And that is, this urn looked a lot bigger on the internet when we were buying it, okay? It didn't look like a salt shaker on the webpage. I'm not going to talk long. I already had my bit. I got to play music. I just want to say a few anecdotes, because a bunch of people are going to get up and tell you how great a guy he was. But he was absolutely the most courageous guy I knew, in truth. One time my brother, who's sitting right there, got us tickets to go see the Producers in Los Angeles. And it took 3 changes of buses, handicap buses, to get from South Orange County to LA to see this show, and we made it. And then 3 more changes of buses to get back. Didn't make that. Got stuck in Long Beach in some parking lot at 2 in the morning, and the bus wasn't there, and it was freezing. And I was pissed and feeling sorry for myself. And it was just a big adventure to Andy. He was having so much fun. We were going to either freeze to death or be robbed there in that parking lot, but he just had the best time. Because he loved life, and whatever it threw at him, he was ready for it. And the only other thing I want to say is that I took care of Andy for going on 16 years, and I never heard him complain once until about the last 2 weeks of his life. He never complained. He always was thinking of helping other people. He was always very concerned about how his attendants were doing. He put them before him. He'd spend his last dime. He'd give money he didn't have to people who need him. And I'll never meet another guy like him. That's all I have to say.
And Jim from Seed was telling me that he had looked it up in the notes recently, and it was somewhere in the early 90s that I got involved. So, long time ago, I didn't realize it was then, but Andy has just been a joy. And the first time I went to a board meeting of Andy's, Andy drove me, because Andy was one of the first people ever to be able to operate a vehicle that was designed just for his use. And I gotta tell you, I was never worried, never concerned. He was an amazing driver, and we had a great time going and coming. So he ran the board meeting. He got people inspired to do all sorts of different things, and he was just an amazing guy. Nothing really got him down. He was a tireless voice, as we all know, for the disabled community, and he was an educator for all the people that really didn't know where to turn in the disabled community. Andy gave them the tools to become entrepreneurial and be able to work from home and subsidize what is really a very meager disability income. So it was something that Andy hoped he could pass on to the world of the disabled, and he did an excellent job in helping many, many, many people. So we're hoping that Seed will continue and be able to do that. Andy he had a wonderful sense of humor, and as I said, he had such a passion for life. Most recently, the last couple things that I went to with him, first of all was his 70th birthday party in June. Many of you were there. And it was really fun to see, because Andy had dreadlocks on his head, and he was all dressed for, the era, and just having a great time. And people brought food and drinks, and there was music, and there was laughter, and just Andy was in his element. Out on his back deck, we were all looking at the ocean. It couldn't have been a better scene. And then the most recent thing was wonderful, because the city of Laguna Beach gave him a proclamation for all he'd done for the disabled community. And that was back in November. And it was a perfect tribute, and just so nice to watch it, because it made him so happy. He taught me a lot. He taught me patience. He tried to teach me the gift of staying calm. I'm still working on that. And no matter how difficult it was, he kept his eye on the prize. Whatever the prize was, if it was helping this person, if it was making this happen over here, he kept his eye on the prize. So it was, most of all, I think that you work with, what he really personified to me is you work with what you have to the best of your abilities. And I wake up every morning now and I think of Andy when I'm getting ready to go to work. And it's just, he is so inspirational to me. I'm sure it'll be with me the rest of my life. And he was truly, truly a privilege to know. The other thing is that one of our classmates, Wendy Hammock-Hunter, is unable to be here today. And she asked that I read this. She knew Andy way back from the beginning of school. So this is from Wendy. She said, "Never give up. This is what I learned from Andy. I also learned from him to look forward, not backwards. There was no whimpering or a pity party. Just get on with the business of life, whatever terms you are dealt." Andy was a great teacher. He said he taught by example. Nothing seemed to faze him. He just pushed through until he accomplished his new goal and then the next one. I know much will be said today about his accomplishments, but I would like to share several personal anecdotes about my friend Andy. I remember visiting him at Rancho Los Amigos right after his accident. He was face down on a striker bed, which flips the patient over to prevent bed sores. Andy happened to be face down. We had a very unusual conversation. I wasn't able to get under the bed to see his face, and Andy saw my legs and I saw his body. He said, I saw his body squished together between two layers, much like an Oreo cookie. We carried on our conversation as if it was something we were both familiar with. I felt it was my mission to be upbeat, but Andy was the one who made me feel comfortable. He was very unsure what his path would be in life, but I knew he was going to deal with it and make the most of it. Andy had that determination, and then all the world would be right once he could get back to living life on whatever terms that might be. He was going to do it his way. That was the lesson I learned from him that day, and it was powerful. Andy and I got back to when we first met, taking the bus to kindergarten in San Marino. I remember getting on to Mr. Celine's bus number 6 on our way to Valentine's School with Karen Curry and Ronnie Walker and myself. We were off on an adventure with Miss Van Duker and Mrs. Steele, our teachers. That was September 1950. Yikes. I also remember back to 1961 when Mother and Dad took our family, when your mother and dad, meaning Andy, took our family to see the movie Alamo. My date was Bob, and I believe your date was Lurleen Hall. That was the night your father died. We all were so devastated at his loss. Although I didn't know this gentleman for long, Andy had many of Hilmer Leaf's attributes. The one I think is the most prevalent is Hill was always steadfast. Indeed, Andy was steadfast and never gave up. He was also determined, patient, respectful, and kind. Andy was a true gentleman. This is his personal legacy. We lost a true warrior. Andy and I have been friends for 65 plus years. I am very thankful for Andy's friendship, for Bob's friendship over these many years. With love and great admiration for the enduring gifts Andy has given each of us, we continue to remember him. Wendy Hammock-Hunter.
Andy had a few stints in the hospital towards the end of his life, some of them fairly lengthy. And